All right, Chef Julia, hello.
Hello.
It's good to connect with you. Thank you so much for spending the time and hopping on. How is everything going, and where are you calling from?
Well, I'm doing great. I live in near Fort Worth, Texas. So I've just been busy doing lots of cooking demos and various things, just keeping busy.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out. And so we're here to talk about the Ultimate Vegan Health and Weight Loss Bundle, co-hosted by Chef AJ and Lissa from Raw Food Romance. And before we jump into that, since we're new to each other and new to each other's audiences, I would love to go through introductions. And I'm fascinated about your background, and just tell us a little bit about that. And why did you decide to immerse yourself in plant-based cooking?
Well, I wasn't always a chef. I was involved in the social work world. That was my first career. So I wanted to do something different, went to culinary school nights and weekends. And originally I was just going to be like a personal private chef and do events and various things. But I decided I like teaching cooking better than cooking for people. So that's what I did. And my plant-based way of cooking and teaching people didn't start until 2018. And I was helping the city of Fort Worth become a blue zone city. And I was doing demonstrations on how to make plant-based dishes for them. And I started eating plant-based for myself because as I've gotten older, I started having high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I was overweight. I had a bunch of
Hmm.
different issues. And
Hmm.
once I started eating plant-based, things improved. So I just kind of switched over everything I did to plant-based, lost most of my initial clients because they wanted to continue eating, their bacon wrapped cheese stuffed meatloaf. So
Oh,
all my classes kind of got canceled that year, 2018.
oh,
But things picked up in 2019. I started having a lot more, classes were filling up and things were looking up. And then COVID hit.
mm,
Well, I had to go virtual, which I have. I'll be 69 this year. So,
awesome.
a couple years ago, I didn't do things online that much. I was just kind of like your grandma, I just very, very limited. And so,
Oh,
the idea of going live, I never did any live videos. So I went
yeah,
live every day on Facebook for
yeah.
50 days and I just cooked my dinner. I said, well, if Michael Simon can do it, and he was doing it on network. He was coming on every day in his bedroom slippers, and his wife was holding a phone and following him around. And I was watching that, and I was thinking, if Michael Simon can do a cooking video in his bedroom slippers, I can do a plant-based recipe every
I
day. I got
love it.
better to do. So that's what I did, and I gained a huge following. I think I have like 15,000 followers on Facebook now, and I had like 1,000 in 2020.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's how I got started online, and now I've got a huge following everywhere, YouTube channel, and I just have a lot of fun. I teach classes. I have lost all my weight. My blood pressure's great. My cholesterol's great. My doctor tells me that I'm going to put him out of business. People like me will put him out of business because we don't need a lot of attention or medicine or anything. And so I love what I do, and my contribution to the bundle, I have a copy of it printed out, is plant-based Japanese because my mother's Japanese.
Oh, nice.
That's my comfort food, and I have a compilation of all these recipes of things that I make for my comfort food: miso soup, rice, tofu, whatever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share that with people because that's something that people seem to really enjoy. So I'm getting lots of great feedback from people that are looking at the bundle saying that they love my story about my Japanese mother and my father who met after World War II. So anyway, it's been.
Oh, that's wow. There's so much to talk about in each point. So, and then also I know that off camera, I know that you served for the military. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And yeah, so that's awesome. I think there's something about making a transition. I've heard many stories. My parents are Chinese in background. They're immigrants, came over in the early 80s, and then had me and my younger sister. And so, growing up in our household, we were very lucky to have both of my folks cook, which is a rarity nowadays, to be able to kind of instill that notion, that family, core values and techniques to pass on, because we're just so laden with things that are just easier and more convenient to, just grab, right?
Yeah.
So, having those strong cultural values and watching them, go through it, I was like, why not? Why not, take these skills, as well. So for those of you who don't know me, on Chef Julia, I'm Dr. Colin Zhu. I'm also the founder of the Chef Doc, 6 years ago. And my story has been that, I was really groomed by my mother, who is a traditional Chinese medical doc, and always looking at patients in a very holistic manner. And so I went into school, realized that every patient that walked through the door had some sort of chronic lifestyle related, risk factor: obesity, heart disease, cholesterol, things that you've been talking about, Chef Julia. And then my school didn't prepare me enough at the time. And so I just made a lot of detours. I went to a health supportive plant-based culinary school in Manhattan, and then got certified in health coaching. And then I just took that education, found the platform, the Chef Doc, to really educate people way beyond my four walls of my clinic, and just really wanted to make an impact like yourself, Chef Julia. And I'm really happy to be a part of this bundle like yourself, to really join forces, to really help people. It's the first quarter of the new year, new beginnings, new milestones, and we want to be able to create a solution and options for people that, don't know where to start. What I'm saying? Because, nowadays is just a lot of, over, information, saturation of information, and not everything is appealing, wouldn't you say?
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
So what are the common things, because you do so much cooking, what are the top three common complaints, or misconceptions? You can answer both or either one, that you get from your clients, or audience members that repeatedly address to debunk.
Well, the thing that people will say is a lot of times it's too much trouble. It's really hard to make plant-based food because it's so complicated and you have to have so many ingredients, which is not true. You can eat very simply, and you can even eat frozen stuff, canned stuff if you're in a hurry. Like I'm going to do a demo on making hibachi fried rice using a bunch of frozen stuff and make it in like 10 minutes at 5 o'clock today. But, so there's that. And then there's where do you get your protein? That, oh, I'll be protein deficient. And, I eat a lot of tofu and beans, and then I get that, oh, I don't like those things. I just can't eat those. Some of the things that plant-based people like, I hear from my husband who's not plant-based. He can only tolerate a certain amount of beans in the week. So he's kind of
Okay.
like anti-bean. So there's that. And then there's no time to eat, which surprisingly, it takes time to chew plant-based food. Like
Yeah.
a lot of big salads and, raw vegetables and whole foods. And you have to sit there and chew the food and eat it. Well, our society is full of people that eat food that you can swallow without chewing, like McDonald's food. You can basically eat a McDonald's hamburger and barely chew anything, and you can be done with your meal. And that's what people are used to. And so having to chew all this food, I know that sounds strange, but that is a common complaint, that they don't have to
Yeah.
chew all the food.
That is a very interesting. I've never had that complaint before, but you're absolutely right. The process of chewing plants is a lot more involved. I've never had the complaint of too much time to eat, or that takes up too much time, which is bonkers to me, because it's kind of like, food is a necessity, obviously, right? We can survive without alcohol and smoking, but we can't survive without food.
Right.
And and I think we're just living, especially westernized societies, we just live in just conditions where things are just way too easy, way too convenient, and things are always go, go, go. And we don't really have a chance to just pause, reflect, process. You're half Japanese, right? You have talked about blue zones. And so, one of the things with blue zones, and if you guys are first time hearing about this, blue zones is, concentrated pockets of the world, of people living over 100. And part of that is really the art of slowing down and the art of just mindfully living and eating. Wouldn't you say, Chef Julia?
Yeah, yeah. Having a purpose, having a social circle of people that you communicate with on a meaningful level on a regular basis, eating foods that nourish you and sustain you and take the time to actually enjoy your food, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really nice. I mean, just it's nice just thinking about it, And I think the world is always in a go go go, and it's like we always have these like mental, fires to put out, and it doesn't need to be that. We can live simply, more simply,
Mhm.
and I think you can gain a lot of joy and contentment and happiness just from slowing down. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm really glad that you came out with your book. I think people will find incredible value. In terms of the bundle, what have you contributed?
That was my contribution is the plant-based Japanese ebook. It has
Nice.
70 recipes. There's photos of each recipe, and most of them are really easy. Kabocha squash, they're just things I love. And so,
Oh, that's awesome.
easy recipes, my family's, the things my mother loved, just, things I love. I wanted to contribute something that was meaningful to me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm curious about you because maybe next year you can do a plant-based Chinese cookbook for us. And
Everyone's waiting for me to put out cookbooks, and I'm sure it takes a lot of process and
yeah.
planning and writing and stuff like that. Yeah, I have there's a whole array of recipes,
Mhm.
especially alongside with my mother,
Mhm.
that we need to be able to put out there. So definitely stay
Oh,
tuned.
think about it.
Um,
And I
so
hear about your chef training. You call yourself Chef Doc. So
yeah.
are you self-taught? Did you go to school? How did you become a chef?
No, I went to school after medical school. I went to culinary school after medical school, and it was because I found that there was a lack of training, and so I didn't want to learn just about nutrition. I really wanted to learn where the food came from, how it's sourced, how it's plated, how are different flavor profiles come
Mhm.
together, and so I found this really great school in Manhattan called the Natural Gourmet Institute, and they're health supportive, they're plant based, not entirely vegan. They did offer optional, animal-based
Mhm.
classes as well,
Yeah.
and it was mostly grounded in traditional Asian cuisines, as
Mhm.
opposed to most French-based that most traditional
Yeah.
schools would train. So yeah, I did that, and then I just used that to kind of deliver culinary medicine workshops. I did that in 2016. Pandemic hit. I did it in person, and then pandemic hit, and then went more virtual. So, and now we're starting to do more live workshops and presentations. So yeah, that's always been a blast, and I'm like you as well, Chef Julia, is where I find more value in teaching others as opposed to cooking, for someone
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
Because I think learning the tools is way more of a ripple effect than just serving, meal that's going to be gone in like 30
Right.
seconds. So
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Did you go to that Gourmet Institute in person or was it virtual?
no, it was this was between 2011 and 2012. I
Oh,
went there
so it's
full
virtual.
time.
Oh, wow.
So it took me 7 months with a
Mhm.
internship that I went to.
Wow.
I didn't even think virtual schools existed during
No,
that
probably not
time.
much. Yeah. I have
Yes.
heard of that school. I've actually looked at their ads in Veg News magazine. I see ads for them, and I've looked at that and said,
Oh.
if I could go back, my culinary school was classic French. We had to clarify a pound of butter at the beginning of every class.
Oh
So
wow.
it was a very, very unhealthy culinary school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I learned,
I don't blame you. It had since got acquired by the Institute for Culinary Education by ICE. And so they have a whole plant-based curricula, dedicated. So they have schools in New York City and LA actually.
hmm,
So So yeah, I mean, there's always, and there are, online vegan schools now
Yeah.
too. So, but it just didn't exist back then. So
Mhm.
I had to do a lot more researching to find
Yeah.
something that I wanted to invest my money in.
Mhm.
So, in terms of the bundle, I contributed two things. One is an audio course. What I find is that, over time, people learn differently, visually, audibly, or, immersive experiences. And so I created a whole food plant-based 101 transition course that's audio. And so it helps to navigate a supermarket, what to stock in a, freezer, pantry, or fridge, and then
Mhm.
your go-to basic, kitchen
Mhm.
utensils and appliances. And the second is a 21-day challenge to my book, Thrive Medicine. Thrive Medicine is a half memoir, half self empowerment book. And in the age of, pandemic, we've, learned more and more about how mental health is, a huge issue. And so the book is really based off of a lot of positive psychology, strategies, in terms of shifting towards a positive mindset. And so it's a video companion to the audiobook, and both of which are in my new app that just got launched a couple of weeks ago. And so, yeah, the bundle will give you instructions on how to, get that to you. So, um, any parting words for the bundle, or just in general, Chef Julia, that we need to know to learn more about yourself?
No, I think that you said a lot, and I think just we can't overemphasize that there are currently about 120 pieces of content. If you were to buy them separately, they'd be valued at over $6,000. And the bundle is only $49, and it ends on Sunday at midnight. So, and it will never return. So it's
Yeah.
one of those things that get it now. You have a year to download all the stuff, and they send it to you in a very easy to use format where you can download all of it at once and put it on a flash drive, or download one or two things, print things if you want to print things, whatever you want to do. So
Yeah.
easy for anyone to use, and
Yeah.
just a good deal. And it's full of, we can't even, there's not enough time to tell you all the great contributions that are worth so much if you were to buy them separately.
For sure. For sure. And I'll echo what Chef Julia is saying. And, it's only a one time fee, it's not a recurring fee. And it ends, and we get a lot of, oh man, I wish, I didn't wait too long. We get that. And every year the bundle is different. So you get fresh material every single year. And yeah, definitely, take advantage of it. Chef Julia, thank you so much for hopping on. I really appreciate, you sharing your time and, your stories and experiences with us, and keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I think it's awesome, especially showcasing, that you don't have to just retire and do nothing. You can actually, do something, amazing, even after quote unquote retiring. So definitely, thank you for being such a great example for everyone.
Thank you so much. And about your app, can anyone find your app, and what's it called? And is it free, or is there a charge for it?
Yes, great question, and thank you for asking. You can find it on the App Store and Apple, as well as Androids on Google Play, and
Mhm.
it's free to download. And what you'll find is free lessons from all the original content that we've produced over time at the Chef Doc, and it's just the Chef Doc. Just type in the search bar. And then, yeah, there's ways to upgrade, but there's a lot of good, enough free material just to chomp off of. And when you enter into the bundle, you get access to two of the courses,
Okay.
like I just talked about, and it's great. So let me know what you guys
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
and
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. It was a pleasure to meet you, because I saw all your contributions in the bundle and thought it sounded really great. So thank you
oh,
for
thank you.
getting
Thank you
that.
very much. And I thank you for, you just being you and showing up, Chef Julia. And I hope you continue moving,
I
continue
will.
cooking. So,
I will. All right. Thank you.
all right, you take care of yourself,
Yeah.
and we'll see everyone else inside. Okay.